Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming here today. This is such an amazing event in London, and it's great to see such a variety of people here. So I don't know how many of you are aware of my work. Just good to know. Well, you would be. That's my daughter over there in the front and Thea over there. Okay, so I'm going to do this talk. I'm going to try and speak quite quickly because I've actually done so many slides, but apparently the clicker isn't working very well, so please bear with me. Okay, so let's get straight into it. I was going to do a little exercise to help you settle, but I feel like time is of the essence here. So, hands up, who here has gone to a hospital, the GP, medical practitioner, or even maybe a healer because you have some kind of a physical problem, maybe you've got some pain, maybe you have difficulty sleeping, emotional, mental, anything like that. Who here has been to the doctors or to the hospital? Well, that's literally everyone, which I would have imagined. Now, put your hands back up if, I'm going to keep out that light, put your hands back up if you haven't actually found a solution to your problem. Let's just get an idea here of how many people. Okay, yeah, so there's a few people kind of going, maybe, but it's quite common, and I will come on to that later. But most people, the World Health, I'm going to say it now just in case I don't get to that slide, but the World Health Organization, they basically say that 1 billion people all around the world suffer from physical issues, and they can't actually get adequate pain relief. They can't get adequate solutions to their suffering, basically. And that's the same with emotional difficulties. So we'll come on to that a little bit later. Haha. But what if I said that life doesn't need to be that way for you, that you don't have to continue on in your life suffering, that your pain doesn't need to remain with you, that perhaps your disease, your diagnoses, that doesn't need to define who you are. You are capable of so much more than you've been led to believe. You have the power within you to literally become someone new. Now, that's not saying there's anything wrong with who you are right now, but in order for us to help and heal ourselves, which you'll find out later, you literally need to shift into a different space. You need to become someone new, the person without what you have. So I shouldn't be here right now. I shouldn't be here walking on the stage, talking to all of you. Basically, as you can see, I was there in a wheelchair. So just over a year ago, I was at the Hay House Christmas party. I'd just been recording my audiobook, and I was blue lighted to Kingston Hospital and then removed to St George's Hospital with a suspected stroke. It was grade 7 on the stroke scale, which is long-term acute inpatient rehabilitation, and they said it would be between at least 6 to 8 months before I would find any kind of recovery. So how am I here? How am I able to walk, talk, live my life in the way that I am now? And how was I able to stand on stage 6 to 8 weeks later, not 6 to 8 months, promoting my book? So you might think that perhaps I was misdiagnosed, perhaps it was a fluke or some kind of spontaneous recovery. However, this isn't just a one-off situation. I have helped and healed myself, interesting, myself from numerous chronic health conditions and emotional difficulties throughout my life. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times. And when you start to see something like that, you start to think, perhaps there's a pattern going on here. Perhaps this is more than coincidence. And it is more than coincidence. It actually goes back to when I was 21, 22, I was diagnosed with a pituitary tumour. And that's actually where I first developed my hierarchy of healing protocol, which is where we need to look at each and every individual level of the self if we are to fully heal. And I will talk about that a little while later. So the key to all this is I'm here to show you that the power to heal, the power to transform your lives, the power to change lies within you. We all seek something outside of ourselves. We look to the doctors, we look to the hospitals, we look to the practitioners in order to save us from ourselves, in order to help us to create a life that we love to live. But actually, we are capable of a lot more when we have that awareness and when we have that knowledge of how to help and heal ourselves. Now, I'm not saying don't go to these practitioners, so that, there's a place for that. And that's very much the physical element to the self. So we have a physical self, we're in a physical world. We also have an emotional element to the self, which is connected to the physical because we have biochemistry going through the body. Our emotions are biochemistry and they are vibrational frequency too. We have thoughts which impact our emotions, and we have a vibrational frequency. We have an energy within us. So the real transformation begins for all of us the moment you remember who you truly are, and that is that you're not just a physical being, you're not just somebody with thoughts and feelings. And traditional psychologists, they will work on your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviours, they will look at your past and how that's influencing you in the present. And the way I work is I've brought together all the research that I could find that would help us look at this multidimensional level. I kind of came across it by fluke when I was trying to heal my tumour. And I ended up going back to the consultant, the endocrinologist, and he basically wrote spontaneous recovery, question mark, through my notes because I was supposed to go back on some terrible medication, and my levels had gone from 15,000 to less than 10 in a matter of weeks. So I had prevented myself from having to take this terrible medication or having any form of an operation in order to do that. So that's where this approach came to, and that's what I've developed since then. So who am I? So I am a chartered counselling psychologist and registered practitioner psychologist. I've been working with clients for over 25 years. I do all the other things as well there that are on the list. But I'm also a shamanic energy medicine practitioner. I've just come back from Chile, which was amazing. And I am a meditation and mindfulness teacher. So these things help me start to connect in with the energy body. I'm a Reiki healer as well. But I am also a psychic medium. And so I am actually known as the psychic psychologist. Now, coming out as a psychic psychologist with 25 years as a chartered psychologist was very scary, and it felt to me very much like committing professional suicide. But I knew that somebody had to do it, and for me, I knew from a very young age that I was here to help people to help and heal themselves. I also knew that in order to do that, I'm not saying this is necessarily what people have to do, but in order to do that, I would experience much suffering. And not just on this physical level. I've healed myself from lots of things, as I've already mentioned. But in healing my pituitary tumour, I actually also healed the fact that I was told by 2 doctors that I wouldn't be able to have children because of the tumour and because of endometriosis scarring. And inadvertently, from healing the tumour, I actually healed that too, which is why I've got one of my lovely daughters here today. And so it's not just the physical level. So for me, when I was pregnant with my second daughter, 2 months into the pregnancy, my sister-in-law died. 3 months into the pregnancy, my mum died. 5 months into the pregnancy, my brother-in-law died. Had a very traumatic birth. As the psychic psychologist, as the psychic part of the psychologist, I have seen down timelines since I was a very small child, and I have known what's going to happen in the future before it's happened. I have precognitive dreams, and before the birth, I kept having dreams that one of us was going to die. I would see this particular midwife come in the room. Can you imagine giving birth on stage? No. This particular midwife came in. I'd never met her. Kate Woolger was her name. I saw it on her name tag. And each and every time in this dream, I would know that this would be the moment when one of us would die. And so, obviously, that's quite harrowing. But the psychologist in me would say, well, of course you're going to have dreams like that. You know, you've just lost loads of members, including your mum, serious people in your family. The psychic in me was like, yeah, but since you were a little girl, you have seen what happens in the future before it happens. And so the trauma that occurred during the birth was that this woman did walk in the room, this Kate Woolger. And it was time to push. Without too much detail, I won't put you into that. There was no sound. There was no sound. And in that moment, I was convinced that she had died. And it's like a timeline extended out, and I then knew that I was now going to have to live my life having given birth, stillbirth. But what I'd done and which is hopefully what I'm going to have time to teach you. And I certainly will talk about it in the workshop later. I'm doing a workshop at 6 o'clock. Is I had extended out my timeline in the same way I did in order to heal my tumour. And I consciously created a future life where we both survived. Now, I didn't know whether that was going to work or not. And I worked at every single level of the self in order to extend both of our timelines. And it worked. We both survived. And so I had to kind of reconcile that kind of situation, and then 9 weeks later my brother died. A year to the day my mum died, my auntie died, then my father-in-law had cancer, he died, and my own father was diagnosed with a very rare brain disease, and over the course of the next 10 years he progressively lost all functioning until he was locked in his body. So you can imagine hard times, and that impacted me on the physical level. As I said, each level of the self are interconnected. And so because I was unable to express the loss, the pain, because I was pregnant, and then because life's life, right? You've got 2 small children. It started to manifest in the body. My legs would give way because I couldn't carry anymore. I had no support around me. I was riddled with pain. I was diagnosed with mitochondrial disorder, fibromyalgia, and my life got smaller and smaller. So from these experiences, I am here to show you that no matter what it is you go through life, no matter which level of the self it is on, this approach helps you. And it's not just for healing. It's not just for traumas. If you're wanting to improve your life, if you're wanting to construct wellness in your life, obviously we're here for a wellness festival. If you're wanting to, shift careers, if you're wanting to, I used this actually approach to get my book deal with Hay House, which is quite difficult to get a book deal with Hay House. I went past the time where I would win the Hay House Writers' Workshop. I won it for the UK and Europe, and I consciously constructed that. Here we are, this is me saying that nearly 1 billion people around the world suffer from mental health disorders, and millions upon millions more chronic physical disorders. And the key there is no adequate treatment. And so this is why I'm doing what I'm doing here today, because around the world 700,000 people commit suicide. And that's partly because there is no adequate treatment. So who are you? Told you a bit about who I am, but I want you to know that you are not the labels that you're wearing, that you are not just a mother, a child, whatever your job label might be. You're not any diagnosis that you might be carrying, and you're not any of the poor decisions or the difficult relationships that you're having in your life. You're so much more, and this is going to show you. You are a multi-dimensional, energetic being. And when I said on the earlier slide, healing or transformation or change begins the moment you know who you truly are. Who you truly are is all of this. You have a physical self, you have an emotional self, a mental, energetic, and an intuitive and spiritual self. And that's the part that is often left out. So quantum physics backs up everything that I say. It shows us that at a subatomic level, we are all energy with infinite potential for change. So we are all interconnected with each other and within ourselves. And it's through this connection that we're actually able to consciously construct and generate the life that we want to live. And the energetic component influences all those different levels of the self. So I developed my hierarchy of healing, which is where we're looking at all those levels of the self. And we're incorporating all the different elements in what I call my release and reprogramming method. So when we're needing to release something from the body, whether it's a physical illness, whether it's bad habits, whether it's a difficult relationship, whatever that might be, we have to start with the physical level of the self and we work our way up in order to release what no longer serves us. And if we're wanting to call something in, so like I was saying with the book, if you're wanting to bring something into your life, then you're bringing that down from the quantum, from the energetic level of the self. That's where we consciously construct things. We think it's our thoughts, but actually it's more than that. Our thoughts, our feelings, everything, they all have energy, but we're bringing that vibrational frequency down. And we must incorporate all of that in order to have wellness. So it's this energetic link that we so often miss. And that's the link that I want to help you experience and know exists today. So if this plays, yay, just going to get you all just to have a moment, okay? So just popping down any of the water bottles, anything that you might have with you. Just going to be just for a few moments. And I thought I'd play the music in case there was sounds around, but luckily there isn't, so hopefully you're still able to concentrate. Okay, so just allowing yourself a moment to close your eyes. And as you have your eyes closed, just becoming aware of how it feels to be you in this moment now. Feeling your bum on the seats. Becoming aware of how it feels in the body. Perhaps even noticing any emotions that are present here right now. Or perhaps were present on your journey here. And how about those thoughts? What thoughts are going through your mind right now? I suspect you know this level of the self really well. And now I'm going to ask you to bring your hands together as if you were going to pray, keeping your eyes closed, keeping yourself centered and connected. And just dropping your awareness now down from that thinking mind into the hands. Maybe give your hands a little rub together just so that you can help you to give that awareness to that place in the body. And now just notice, perhaps you can sense, feel, know that there's a connection here with some molecules in your hand. You can feel the friction where you've been rubbing your hands together. And now just moving your hands slightly further away from each other, just a few millimeters away from each other. Bringing your awareness and your attention down into that space between the hands. If you need to rub your hands together a bit more, then you're more than welcome to do so. Anything that helps you with your connection. Allowing yourself to be still. And just feeling and noticing, experiencing what's happening in the hands and around the hands, between the two hands, the palms. Just notice. Many people experience an electrical feeling. Some are bubbling, different temperatures. Maybe just moving your hands in and out slightly and noticing how it feels quite magnetic. Maybe moving them up and down. Just have a little play. And now, bringing your hands back to your legs or wherever you were resting them, keeping your eyes closed. Just imagine now expanding your awareness from the center of your head, just behind the eyes. Just imagine expanding yourself out like you've just grown, feeling into the energy around the body in the same way that you just felt the energy between your hands, and notice. Become aware, noticing that you are more than the physical. And in your own time, opening your eyes. That exercise, you may not have felt much here because of the situation we're in, but I would strongly recommend that you practice that at home. Who noticed a difference while you were here? Oh wow, okay, amazing. Oh, well, I'll take that back then. So you've all just experienced, some of you may have experienced it before, you've just experienced the energetic level of the self. And it's through that we can help and heal. So again, it's about you identifying as more than you have been led. Oh, yeah. So if you don't know who you truly are, then you can't optimize your well-being. And you would only be looking at a part of the solution. So I want to quickly tell you a little bit about my client, because this really helps to illustrate change. So one of my clients, she was a client for many years, had a very difficult upbringing, lots of trauma. She developed dissociative identity disorder. And that is where you have two or more alters, two or more other personalities that you can switch into. It's often associated with trauma. I think 97% of people that have DID have had a trauma in their past. This is her brain scan. So I was working with her, and I suggested she go for a QEEG brain scan analysis because it can really help with neurofeedback, and that can help you actually, we've got neuroplasticity, it can help the brain. And when she did, the most interesting thing happened. You see the top one here, this is her, as I've given different names, Grace, 30-year-old lady. The scan shows that. She switched during the scan and became 7-year-old Lily during the scan. And in that moment, the scan changed with her. Literally in a moment, she became somebody new. Which is fascinating, because how can you be the same single self, this physical self, 1 minute, and then in the next second, literally have a different brain? One brain that's much younger, the brain of a child, a brain that's disorganized and rigid, a brain that actually also had OCD, versus another brain that was older, more flexible, and had attachment issues, all in the space of seconds. And then I started looking at the research, and the research shows that in DID, all of these changes happen when people switch from one personality to the next. They've shown difference in physiology, blood pressure, endocrine responses, autonomic responses, their immune system, different handwriting. People have a different dominant hand in 37% of people with DID. Even blindness and deafness. There was one particular piece of research that showed they were blind, and then they regained their sight as one of their alters, one of their personalities could see, the others couldn't see. So fascinating for me as a psychologist, maybe to you too. But that shows me that consciousness shapes reality. That shows me that what we were talking about earlier with quantum science, that we can consciously construct the life we want to be. Because if we can have a new body, new behaviors, new emotions, new personality in the space of a second, then just think what you can do when you consciously choose to do that for yourself. People with DID, they don't necessarily have the choice in that, it just happens. But that really gives me great backing, really, to this particular work that I do. So, what we need to do is what I need to do actually is give you an idea of how to do that for yourselves. So I'm checking on the time. We're going really well. I'm quite pleased. Yeah. I'm going to ask you all now, right, without looking, actually, do it with your eyes closed. With your eyes closed. With your eyes closed. Okay, I want you, out of nowhere, just to quickly point to your future. Okay, right. Keep your hands where they are, and everybody open your eyes and have a look. Have a look at each other. So we've got some people with their hands up, we've got some people looking forward, we've got some people slightly off to the diagonal there. Interesting, hey? So why am I doing that? Well, what's interesting is we have a past, we have a present, we have a future. We have a timeline that runs through our lives. Like I said, when I was a young child, I was able to see down timelines. I was able to see down timelines because my timeline runs from back to front. I can see the future in front of me. My past is behind me. Now, what do you think happens if your past, your present, and your future are in front of you? What if your past is in front of you and your future is behind you? I've had that in a client as well. And if you've got it diagonal, like over there, then you constantly, have an awareness of this past. Now, the past isn't necessarily always bad, but if we're wanting to become somebody new, then we don't necessarily want to be faced with the things that we're trying to leave behind. Because if we don't work on that past, then it's unconscious, right? We're carrying it with us. So then that past is projected into the present and onto the future, which is why we often repeat the same problems again and again and again, but it's just wearing a different suit. So we're going to help you with your timelines here today. I'm going to pop on another bit of music in a moment and just take you through a little journey, just to get you just a little snippet of how you can work with yourselves after here to consciously generate how you would want things to be in your life on all of those individual levels of the cell. So when we did the little exercise with the energy, if you notice, I got you to connect in with the physical first, feeling what it was like in the body, then to notice emotionally what was happening in the body, then your thoughts, and then we expanded out into the energy body. If you practice that at home, honestly, you will become a powerhouse. The more you connect in with the body and then out into the energy body, the more you have much more much more consciously creation, much more ability to consciously create in your life. Okay, so for those of you that were pointing up, can I ask, there were two of you, I think, there was only two of you, three over there, okay, amazing. Is your past beneath you?
I'd say behind.
Behind you, okay, so you've got a bit of a wonky line. Is yours?
Similar.
Similar, yeah, okay. How about you? It's here within you. Okay. And that's good. It's important to be present, but we need to shift our timelines if we're wanting to make change. Okay. Any questions before I do the last exercise with the timelines? Pardon? Doesn't mean anything. So we basically store things in our brain in different ways. And that's just how you've learnt to store where your future is. But if you're wanting to construct a future and it's up there, it's kind of a bit out of reach. I can't quite get it. And do you see what I mean? If you start to look at things metaphorically, it can actually help you to recognize what's happening in your life as well. Yeah.
I have no idea where my past is.
You have no idea where your past is? Well, let's hope it's in the past. Okay. What we can do is when we do this exercise, I'm going to kind of direct you to see your timeline in front of you, and then I'm going to direct you to put it behind you as well. So it'll be interesting to see what you notice when you do that. Okay. Doesn't mean you haven't got a past. I'm sure you have. Okay, hi.
Will it change day by day based on your state?
I wouldn't say so, no. No, I would say it's pretty fixed. But you can change it yourself. It's just about having that conscious awareness. So it's not a fixed thing. So you can shift it yourself. So I shift mine when I want to work with it, and then I put it back into the way that's going to be most beneficial to me at the time. This is not something we generally get taught or know about. So I think it's really helpful. So my buttons undone. Don't look. Okay, are we all good for... Is that going to play? Amazing. Okay, so just allow yourselves to find a comfortable position once again. Oh, maybe you need to play that. Thank you. Amazing. So just dropping into the body once again. Allowing the eyes to close. Really feeling into how it is to be you in this moment. Noticing how different that might be to just a few moments ago. And just taking a moment to become aware of the breath. Allowing yourself to take a nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Good. Just allowing yourself to remain here for a moment. You know, there's lots of research about visualization and how that can shift and shape your neurology in your brain. And it's through visualization that I was able to help myself to heal. It's through having an awareness and knowing that, reading the research on stroke, to know that with MRI scanners there's no difference between people that have had physical help, physical therapy, and people that do it by visualization alone. So don't underestimate the power you hold within when you drop down into the body, out into the energy body, and connect in with your visual sense. Expanding out now into the energy body around you in just the same way you did before. Noticing, feeling into the energy now. Doing whatever you need to allow you to let go. Setting the intention of connecting in with your timeline and bringing to mind an image in front of you in whatever way that works for you. Some people see, others don't, and that's perfectly fine. The intention is enough. So, I want you to imagine a carpet unfolding, rolling out in front of you. A red carpet. And that carpet is your timeline, extending out wherever it needs to go, out into the future and back into the past. And notice just by the words I used Perhaps your timeline feels a little different because I've already said it's back into the past. Perhaps it's the same. If you are not in your timeline, notice that too. Notice if it's running alongside you or in front of you or behind you. And now we're going to, as if by magic, put that timeline from wherever it is right now out in front of you from left to right. Left being the past and right your future. And in your mind's eye, floating over to the timeline, into the center of the timeline, into the part that represents the present, seeing the timeline expanding out infinitely to the left and to the right. And just dropping down now into the timeline and turning to face your past. And just noticing along that timeline, just acknowledging all the events that have occurred in your life that have allowed you to become the person you are today. Those significant moments in childhood, when you were a teenager, all the way through to now. Knowing that no matter what occurred for you, you get to choose how they impact your future. So just floating up now, up above the timeline so you can see it all, still facing your past. Just notice those events playing out now, almost like they're on little TV screens. The good, the not so good, all here to help you to become the person that you're meant to be. And just imagine now floating above that timeline and going down into the past. And as you do so, just imagining all of the knowledge, all of the wisdom coming up from those TV screens, up, up, up into your energy body now as you're floating above your past, taking with you as much as you need. Good. And now turning in your mind's eye to face your future. Floating above your timeline, going all the way out into the future, past the present, and take yourself to a time in your future where you can be the person that you wish you could be right now. Take yourself there. See yourself doing, being, feeling exactly how you choose. Noticing who is with you. Noticing where you are. Really feel into that future moment along your timeline. Imagine it on a big screen in front of you now, turning up the volume, turning up the brightness, making it as big and as exciting as you need it to be, for it to be compelling you towards it. Stepping into the screen now, really wearing that future version of you. All those new thoughts, What do you need to believe about yourself now in order to become that person? How do you need to feel? Just spending a moment there right now. Really basking in that future version of you. And now, scooping up all of that information, rising above your timeline once again. And as you're floating back to now, dropping in an imaginary way, you don't need to know the specifics, dropping in that timeline, the thoughts, the feelings, the experiences that you need to happen in order to reach them. Just imagine you're dropping in balls of energy, like breadcrumbs, helping you to connect in with that future vision of you, helping you to bring it back to the now. And when you find yourself back to the present moment, dropping down into the timeline, so that the timeline runs through you, and shifting that timeline in whatever way works best, so that your future is in front of you and your past behind. Just taking a moment, and in your own time, just allowing yourself to come back to now. Amazing. Well done, everyone. You all look like you were nice and relaxed. You are welcome to follow me on socials. Everything is at The Psychic Psychologist. And yeah, thank you for being here. It's been amazing.